What's going on, guys? Welcome to Fantasy Sports Now. Today I'm talking about running backs that I want to target in all of my leagues because they're way too low, or we're giving up on them, or we're totally forgetting them as a whole. If you like what you see today, hit me with the sub, hit me with a like. I like to jump into the content and keep it short, so that's what I'm going to do. So let's jump right on to it. Number one I'm looking at is Zeke right off the bat. We initially, right now he's ranked ninth on most people's draft boards. And this is just running back rank. This isn't overall. He's the ninth running back ranked right now. And it's almost as if they're ranking Zeke as if Dak Prescott is not coming back or is not going to be good. But that's not the case either because Dak is being ranked in the top five in most of these drafts as a quarterback. So it's one of these things where it's a little bit of a confusing rank because look at the stats that Zeke was able to put up with Andy Dalton as the quarterback. You got to keep in mind Dallas was losing a lot of these games and they had to try to pass and it just wasn't their scheme. Usually Dak is also a running kind of guy, which kind of leads to more lanes for Zeke. Passing kind of guy, which also leads to more lanes for Zeke. Still going to have a good offensive line. Going to be one of these top five offenses in the league. And I want the top dog on one of the top offenses of the top scoring in the league. And if I could get him at number 9, that's crazy. That's almost round 2 in a lot of leagues if you add in wide receivers or a quarterback if somebody gets absolutely insane. So for me, Zeke has an absolutely super high floor and a super high ceiling, which you cannot say about almost every running back in the league. So if you are sitting mid-draft coming up soon, don't forget about Zeke. Don't give up on this guy. I think it's a little crazy that we would think that. Next is J.K. Dobbins. Year 2. He's coming, he plays for Baltimore, and last year they had the big committee thing going on. They had Ingram, they had Gus Edwards. Ingram is out of there, which is going to help. I know Ingram didn't play a whole lot, so you're thinking, oh, that maybe that doesn't make that big of a difference, but I'm sure it does help. The good thing here is Dobbins is going to continue to grow. Last year, he had a COVID preseason, so he basically had nothing coming out of the gates. So I think that he's going to prove mentally and physically just as a human being, and he's going to have more time to mature. He's 22 years old, and as he matures, you have to remember that he plays for Baltimore, which is absolutely a run-first team, despite what people think. They run the ball. Lamar Jackson, run the ball. J.K. Dobbins, run the ball. Rookie season, he had almost 1,000 kind of total yards, 9 scores. I expect all of that to go up. I think that people are afraid that he's not going to get targeted enough, and maybe you could lower him a little bit in PPR. But for me, Dobbins at 13, I think I'd put him a little bit higher because to me he's more of a sure thing to have a higher ceiling than a lot of other guys. Next, we're going to DAndre Swift, and I'm probably biased, but for me, he obviously had a great rookie year when it comes to touchdowns. And this is kind of what I was talking about with Matt Stafford on the other video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out, quarterbacks. He had nearly 800 yards, 900 yards, but he had 10 scores, and it's because the Lions were down a lot and they had to pass a lot. It's going to be a lot different Lions team this year. From my perspective as a Lions fan, the way that I see this is there's one talented player on this offense, and it is Swift. And he is really good, and I think they should give him the ball a lot because the offense is going to have to run through somebody, and it's not going to really be Goff's arm. It's going to be through Swift's legs, and it's going to be very weird for us as Detroit fans to see what's probably going to become a more run-heavy team than a pass-heavy team. For 10 years of Stafford, we've watched them pass, and it's going to switch. And I think that taking Swift is a good call because he's basically their guy. I know Adrian Peterson is there, but these guys are going to fade out as Swift continues to grow. Just like Dobbins, young guy who's going to continue to grow, and I'm targeting that upside because I think the upside's tremendous. And similarly to all of the previous two, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, it's very strange to me. Yes. Did he have a season that we expected? In terms of touchdowns, absolutely not. He only had 5 touchdowns last year. He only played in 13 games, so let's not forget that. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is he still had about 1,000 yards total, so that's good. He was getting a fair amount of receptions, so that's good. He plays for the number 1 offense, and he's the number 1 back there. That's good. Damian Williams, who sat out last year, who was going to come back and probably compete with Clyde, is gone, so that's good. He's very young. He's 21. He's going to improve his game, and his potential has obviously not been matched. So that's good. So why in the world is he ranked 18th? It's like we completely have forgotten how good Clyde Edwards-Helaire is. And I know last year most people, most drafts took him a bit too early because they bought into the hype. People were taking 5th overall, which it was too high, but you were buying into that hype. But now you're talking about getting him at 18. That's 18th running back. That's not 18th overall. That's the 18th ranked running back at Fantasy Pros. That is insane to me that the best offense with their running back lead guy is ranked 18th. Guys, that's crazy. You got to take him way earlier than that because he is on the verge of busting, and it's crazy to me. The last one I want to talk about is Chase Edmonds. So Kenyon Drake decided to jump ship and decided to go to Las Vegas, which was a bit of a puzzler. If you want to know more about that, look out some of our other videos. Let's keep going here. But so Chase Edmonds is a guy that last year, even when Drake was there, they talked about how, oh man, we think that Edmonds can also be like 1A and 1B with Drake, and this guy would be a starter on almost any other team, and all that fun stuff. And so that's probably why Arizona was fine with Drake leaving in general. So I wasn't so puzzled by Drake leaving as I was as where he went. But now Chase Edmonds is going to be Chase Edmonds and Drake, it seems like. And Drake had 10 scores and 1,000 yards, and he had a really good season. But if you look at this over here, you see that Chase Edmonds had nearly 800 yards, a lot of receptions, and he still ranked in like the top 30 running backs as a backup running back. He played mostly the backup running back. He only had 100 carries. So that's not a lot. Imagine doubling that. That would be a pretty good season right there. And to be ranked 32nd it seems like almost like an insult. It's kind of like the Clyde Edwards-Helaire thing. It's like the math doesn't make sense. If you give him double the carries, and if you want, double the yards, double the touchdown, double everything. Give him double everything because he's the guy there, and you still rank him worse than he was last year as a backup. It doesn't make any sense. So I think that's likely to change as we get closer to draft time. But that's the list, guys. Look for the wide receivers. We'll do that one soon, and we'll see you next time.